Mister.
Hey everyone, Miss Dempsey here. This is a guide for round 4 of the Nations Cup, and I'll be using the 2016 Audi R18. Let's get this started. Your first braking point is right before the curb on the right starts. When you're about to hit the first apex, ease off of the braking to get the car to rotate. Then go full throttle for a moment, then ease off of the throttle. Be aware of the battery that the car has, which ends up making the car go faster and makes it understeer. Take this turn flat out and brake right before you pass the shadow of the crane. Be very gentle when you're easing off of the braking and getting on the throttle to make sure that the car doesn't want to oversteer. Then for this turn, you'll be turning in right here, and then you'll be lifting off of the throttle. The goal is to try to get the left wheels to hit that first curb to help the car rotate a bit more. Then you can take these turns flat out. Your next braking point will be after you pass the 150 meter board that is on the left. Brake in a straight line, and when you're going through the turn, make sure you don't take too much of the apex, as that can make your car a bit unstable. Gently accelerate and try to straighten the car out before the battery kicks in. Then take this bus stop at full throttle. Your turning point will be just before the curb on the right ends. Get really close and personal with the walls and do a couple runs with it. It's going to be a bit scary, but when you do more and more laps, just going through it full throttle, you'll gain more and more confidence and you'll shave off a lot of time. Then you will brake before you reach the 100 meter board, and you're going for a late apex. Gently accelerate your way through to make sure that the car doesn't understeer into the wall, and you are good to go. And I want to mention one thing about this car for the time trial. When you do your second lap, you're not going to have as much battery power as you did in the first lap, so I suggest you restart the session. That way you can have more battery power and you'll be able to get a faster time. And now let's go ahead and talk about strategies. Alright, there are two strategies I picked up on. There is doing a one stop, which is going on soft and then changing to another soft. And then there's the no stop method, where you only use racing mediums. But first, let's talk about fuel. You'll be starting off a bit short from the 19 laps of fuel that you need to complete the race. So what you want to do is adjust the fuel mapping as you enter the turns. Here I'm showing a clip of me changing the fuel mapping as I approach each turn, and this is on racing soft as well. So when I go into the pit stop, I will only change tires and I won't be getting any fuel at all. So notice here I change on over to fuel map 2, then gradually bring it over to fuel map 1. This can help stabilize the car a little bit, especially in that hairpin over there. And through the bus stop, I usually bring it to fuel map 2 just to keep the car a little bit stable. And once again, approaching another turn, bring it to fuel map 6. Try to save up as much fuel as you can so you don't have to refuel when you enter the pit stop. I suggest entering the pit stop on lap 9 or 10, because you're going to do one stint that's going to be a lap longer than the other one. So lap 9 and lap 10 depends on how you're feeling with the tires. Enter on one of those two laps. This pit stop took me 10.6 seconds total, whereas with the medium tire strategy, obviously that's a no stop strategy, so you're not entering the pit stops at all. When it comes to navigating through the bus stop of death, it's possible to go flat out through it for the first 5 laps of racing soft tire stints. And after that, you're going to want to lift off of the throttle a little bit to make sure that the car doesn't end up kissing the wall. And here, this is my second to last lap. I just want to show you how the tires are looking. And one thing I want to mention is I actually put the brake balance to +1 for this car to make the tire wear a bit more even between the front and back tires. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the racing medium tires. Racing medium tires it's actually possible to go through this chicane of death, bus stop of death at full throttle, but you have to be absolutely crazy to do it. You have to basically nail it. But obviously, racing medium tires, they're going to be a bit slower than that of racing soft, but they will last you a lot longer. But the question is it a good idea to run racing mediums, run the no stop strategy on this car? And from my testing, I'm going to say that the answer is a big fat no. See, the thing is that when you're starting to get into the second half of the race, you're obviously going to notice that the tires are being more worn. You're going a lot slower, and look at this. So this is lap 19. My tires are absolutely dead. I'm actually surprised I haven't even crashed a single time during this stint. And honestly, I just don't find an advantage or a good reason to run a no-stop strategy on this car. You're just putting yourself at a disadvantage. You're playing with fire. So if you were to ask me which strategy I would run, it's definitely the racing soft strategy, because I don't want to deal with this. This was absolutely miserable. So let's go ahead and summarize this quickly. Do a racing soft strategy if you're using the 2016 Audi R18. Pit on lap 9 or 10 for racing soft. Fuel save. That way you don't have to refuel at the pit stop. And yeah, don't run racing medium strategy. That's a big no-no. But anyways, that is all from me. This is Mr. MCA wishing you a good race, and I'll see you in the next video.